Christmas is only around the corner now, so for this whole month of December, I'm going to be pumping out as many recipes as possible, making sure that you have the best dishes on Christmas Day. For this one, we're going to be making literally the best roasted potatoes. They're so crispy on the outside, super fluffy in the center, and best of all, they're really easy to make. Also, I've added in a little bonus recipe in this one, so make sure you stick around to the end to see that. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright guys, starting us off, we're going to need 1.2 kilos or 2.6 pounds of any high in starch content potato. These right here are Sebago, which are the type you'd see with all of the dirt still on them, but Maris, Piper and russet potatoes work really well too. With these, let's peel off the skins, and don't throw the skins away as I'll show you a little bonus recipe later on in this video, so be sure to stick around to the end. And as for the high starch content in the potatoes, it's needed due to the low sugar and moisture levels in these types of potatoes, meaning that they can be cooked for longer without burning and obtaining the most amazing crunch and soft fluffy center. Once the potatoes are peeled, slice them in half lengthways, slice each half in half again, and slice into even sized quarters, with the sizes being extremely important for accurate cooking times. These can now be placed into a large pot, then make your way over to the sink and fill with enough cold water to cover them by 1 inch, and the cold water is important too as it allows the potatoes to all heat up at the same rate, resulting in even cooking times, and this also goes hand in hand with the sizes that they're cut. Place the pot onto your stovetop, whack it onto a high heat, give the potatoes a quick stir to ensure none are stuck together, then bring this to a boil, and once boiling, allow it to continue to do so for 9 minutes. In the meantime, here we have 120 grams or 4.2 ounces of duck fat, to which we can pour into a large tool-sided baking tray, making sure not to waste any of this good stuff. And to easily spread it around, gently tip the tray to spread it out all over, and this can be substituted for goose fat or sunflower or canola oil if you wanted to keep the cost down. Make your way over to a preheated oven set at 190 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit and heat the fat for 20 minutes. Also, whilst our potatoes are boiling, place 10 grams or 0.3 ounces of whole fresh rosemary onto a baking tray lined with parchment paper, along with 1.5 tablespoons or 17 grams of sea salt flakes. Then make your way over to the preheated oven and roast for 6 minutes to dry out the rosemary leaves. After 6 minutes, these can then be removed. Allow them to cool down if you wish to do so, then gently pick off the leaves, discarding the stem as we no longer need it. I'm also going to be honest, adding the salt into the oven too does absolutely nothing for the flavour, it just saves a few seconds keeping them both together. As for keeping them together, pour both of them through the parchment paper express into a spice grinder or mortar and pestle, then grind or bash into a fine powder to create a delicious rosemary salt that's not only incredible for this recipe but so many others, and this can then be placed into a bowl or container and set aside for later on. Now going back to the potatoes that are soft but still hold a little bit of resistance, very carefully pour them through a colander or any strainer that you have, making sure that none of the boiling water splashes back at you. Place on a lid or anything to cover it and gently shake and rough these up to create a fluffy and rugged outer shell, which is the technique to get these super crispy as the fat can then penetrate each and every little crack and groove that's formed. After 20 minutes, we can then very carefully remove the hot fat or oil from the oven and gently spoon in the roughed up potatoes. Please do not pour them all in at once as the fat is so hot, and the last thing I want to hear is someone being hurt from this as it can easily splash back up at you. Once the potatoes are in, spread them out ensuring they're not sitting all on top of one another, then make your way back to the oven and roast for 1 hour, mixing and rotating the tray every 15 minutes. Now remember the peels from earlier, place them into a bowl and pour over 1 tablespoon or 20 milliliters of olive oil or duck fat if you have any left over, sprinkle with sea salt flakes to your taste and get your hands in there nice and deep like, massaging and ensuring each individual peel is well coated. Tip these out onto a baking tray lined with parchment paper, making sure you leave no soldier behind. Spread them out evenly so they're not all over each other, then roast these in the preheated oven for 20 minutes, mixing and rotating the tray halfway through. And once that's achieved, get these bad boys out, leaving us with the most crispy potato skins, and best of all, we've just used something that we'd usually just throw away. These can then be placed into a bowl, and we can then dig in whilst we continue our recipe. This has now been 1 hour, which means we can carefully remove our roasted potatoes from the oven and turn it off as we no longer need it, leaving us with these beautifully golden and extremely crispy all over duck fat potatoes, and not only are they crispy, the center is so soft and fluffy. Once you've finished admiring them, tip the roasties into a mixing bowl, bring along all of those little crunchy bits left in the baking tray, then grab the rosemary salt that we made before and add as much or as little as you'd like to your taste, then give these a good shake to get them seasoned all over. To serve these up, you can leave them in the shaking bowl to save dishes or transfer them to a clean serving bowl, the choice is yours. but with whatever you do, we're then left with these extremely crunchy, soft and fluffy, rosemary salted duck fat potatoes that are the perfect side for literally anything. The only thing left to do now is make all of this worthwhile, and that is we can then dig in. So there we have it. This recipe right here serves 4 to 6 people, and like most of my recipes, it can easily be double, tripled and so on, or halved if you wanted to make less. To store them, you can place them in the fridge for up to 3 days and in the freezer for up to 3 months, but they are best eaten fresh, and I can guarantee you'll probably eat them all before then anyway. As for reheating, place them back in the oven on 190 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and just heat them up till they're nice and hot, making sure that they're hot in the center. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, comment, share, do all of that stuff. It really does help my channel out, and consider subscribing along with hitting that bell notification next to it so you never miss one I upload. Thanks for watching everyone, stay safe and enjoy.